Hello, 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 everyone, and welcome to Getting Real with Paula. Tonight, we are talking to Orphanie Bégon-Leroy, founder of Les Poupées d'Or. While I will give her a little bit of time to introduce herself, I want to preface that conversation with the fact that back in the 90s, when I became a mom, I quickly realized that I wanted a positive representation of my kids, for my kids. And back then, that meant traveling to the States because where we lived at the time, there were no stores where we could find any black dolls. And in that conversation, I suspect it wasn't just in where we live. It was in Quebec, it was in Montreal, and it could have been in other parts of Canada as well. Nowadays, we can see, we can check, we can validate, we can explore the web as we have the virtual stores at our fingertips to actually find those positive representations for our kids. So, this having been said, let me welcome our guest to the stage, Ayofani, and thank you for being here.
Hi, Paula. Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure, my pleasure, my pleasure. I When I discovered you and your dolls, it was just like, oh my God. I might not have young babies anymore, but I'm
Mhm.
thinking, oh, there are women out there who are still looking for this. So, can I ask you to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes. Well, first of all, thank you very much for having me. I'm very happy to be here with you today. Well, as mentioned, my name is Orphanie Bégon-Leroy. I'm the daughter of Madeleine Bégon and of Michel Franz Leroy. Who are descendants of Africans that were forcibly taken from their motherland, stripped of their identity, and then forged themselves a new identity and became Haitians. I feel like it's important that I introduce myself as such because it ties into exactly my mission. I'm the mother of two beautiful young children, and I'm the wife of a beautiful African man. And through Les Poupées d'Or, I'm here to contribute to the greater good. And my business was officially registered in 2017. And my mission is to use dolls, Black dolls, to incite children of African descent to be proud of their identity, proud of their roots, and to celebrate who they are as Black children.
Thank you. Could you
You're
share
welcome.
with us your career path and what led you to become an entrepreneur?
Yes, of course. My career path, I can say it's always been that of an entrepreneur. For over a decade now, I've been working for the Immigration and Refugee Board of Canada as an interpreter. So I interpret, my languages are Creole, Haitian Creole, English, and French. And as an interpreter at the IRB, we are considered as self-employed. So already there,
Okay.
I'm considered as an entrepreneur already, and even between then, I've had a few jobs here and there, but it's always my path has always brought me back to being self-sufficient, to being independent, having my own schedule, and just being an entrepreneur. And I think I owe it to my mom. Well, it's not I think, I know I owe it to my mother, who herself was a trailblazer in her own lane. I've always seen her as a woman who had her business, and her mission was to leave a legacy before she passed, and that's exactly what she did. So really, I think I've seen entrepreneurship is something that I've been surrounded with by all my life.
Wow, wow, wow. So, a great example to follow.
Definitely.
You've mentioned your part of your vision was to help young girls, Afro descendant girls, to see and to learn about where they're from and who they are.
Definitely.
So, what's the vision? How did you come about? I want to do this. Can you tell us a little more?
Oh yes, definitely. There's a saying that goes, "It's easier to build strong children than to repair broken men." And that's like the fuel behind what I do. I personally believe that the quality of your life is in direct link to the with the way that you perceive yourself. The more positive of an image you have of yourself, the greater of the life you will build for yourself, and the more inferior you'll feel, the lesser quality of the life you will have. And you will be limited in what you think you can do and cannot do depending on the way you perceive yourself. And Les Poupées d'Or is here to validate Black children, to let them know that they are beautiful, first of all, and that they come from a rich and amazing heritage. And that we live in a world where their color is frowned upon, is looked down upon. The texture of their hair is frowned upon and looked down upon and degraded. And because of this, Black children in particular, they grow up with a sentiment of inferiority. And my goal is to elevate them and to let them know that, well, actually, that hair of yours, that skin color of yours, that's a richness. Be proud of it. And don't let that limit you from achieving the greatest version of yourself. Like, on the contrary, use it, because you come from a rich background, and really there's no limit to what they can do. And you can say that, well, you can achieve that just with dolls. And I say yes, because dolls are a representation of the children. When they see the doll, they directly transpose their identity onto the doll. So if they see a beautiful Black doll with beautiful afro hair, they see their reflection. And that's exactly what I want, as opposed to the children playing with a white doll with blonde hair and light blue eyes, which has nothing to do with who they are. And then if that's in their household, that's what they play with. They go outside, that's who they see. They're surrounded by such people with such characteristics. On television, they see people with such characteristics in different the superior roles, you would say. So it's really important to me that the dolls are used as like one of the main tools to elevate the self-esteem of Black children. So that's really the mission behind what I do.
I love it because it's all, as you say, it's all about legacy. It's about self-image. It's
Yes.
about self-esteem, and
Hmm.
definitely their identity, as they're often spending a bunch of time playing and, I don't know, making up their stories with those
Hmm.
dolls. Then
Hmm.
if I don't have anything that looks like me, it feels as though I'm always on the outside, not on the
Exactly.
inside. So
Exactly.
that allows them. Oh, I love it. I just love, oh, you. I love you. You give me chills.
Oh, thank you. It's we could see it's always something. And even I sometimes I'm like, really? But they're just dolls. It's just a toy. But when you think about it, it's an important representation. And imagery is everything. Imagery is what you register in your mind, even before the words, even, you see it, it sticks with you. And children, they play with these dolls, they're visual, they play with the hair, and they get to know themselves through the toy. And if they're always playing with like long, silky, straight blonde hair, and then they at themselves and they see like this afro and they see this Black skin, that's where the inferiority complex can settle in. And if we don't nip it in the bud, they grow up to be adults who want to, use chemicals to straighten their hair, wear eye contacts to lighten their eye color, use bleaching cream to lighten their skin color. And that's a very big problem. These are big problems that we have in our community.
It's all about representation, and it's all about
Hmm.
seeing yourself as
Yes.
something valuable and positive, as
Yes.
someone that has something to offer. And
Definitely.
sometimes when I have no one that looks like me around, then besides my family, it feels like something is off with me, rather than
Exactly.
um, I'm still as great and as it has as much potential as anyone else.
Exactly.
It's interesting because it goes back to what I was trying to do with my kids, and my kids are
Mm,
grown adults now, and
mm.
they tell me they joke that I used to play with dolls until way past our kids. And it was, to them it was playing with the dolls, but to
Yeah.
me it was finding dolls that look like you. So we had
Hmm.
dolls of all kinds of colors, in the
Wow.
shades of the brown.
Yes.
We had different hairstyles. We had
Yes.
different prints on their clothes. We had
Hmm.
different shapes for those dolls
Yes.
because I didn't know what they were going to look like, and
Yeah.
I didn't want them to feel like one was better. So there was
Yes.
always, as they were growing up, those dolls all around. They're in boxes right now, but they're about to get out again because their grandkids are coming.
Oh, exactly. And
I
it's
know,
beautiful.
and
It's a
it's small
legacy.
things. And
Hmm.
it's because I know, I remember, there were the Barbies, there were the newborns, there were
Yeah.
the toddlers, all of those. But at the same time, for me, I wanted them to see not just girls or
Yes.
boys, but all of them.
Yes.
Eventually, over time, we extended to include dolls from different origins, whether it was
Definitely.
the what's it called? What was it? We had some from Japan. We had some anyway
Nice.
from all kinds, so they could see
Wow.
the diversity. So
Exactly.
yeah, I get it. It's motherhood.
Definitely.
You want them to be able to see. It's the beauty of the diversity and the representation that maybe back then, I remember when I was in school,
Hmm.
you barely saw anything else than the
Exactly.
Caucasians. And when the other groups were represented, not the message was not always as positive.
Exactly.
So things we
Exactly.
want to think about. Talking
Hmm.
about motherhood,
Yes.
you mentioned you're a mother of two young kids, I believe.
Hmm.
How do you juggle motherhood, family, and running a business?
Oh, listen, it's keeping it real with Paula. I'm gonna keep it 100% real. It's a challenge. It's a challenge, but it's a challenge that is worth it in the end. As women, we're the pillars of our family, and we wear many hats. We're moms, we're wives, we're daughters, and the family is not like, if we take it from an African perspective. Well, family is not only your little
Mhm,
family; it's the extended family. Your
mhm,
sister, your auntie, your grandmother, and we wear many, many, many hats. So to me, for now, it's really like I'm the sister, and I'm the oldest of a family of six children as well. So I was like a mother before becoming a mother myself, because I was raised as a second mom. But that's a little bit about me. And now I'm actually a mom of two. I'm a wife. So it takes a lot of organization. I'm not going to lie. It takes a lot of organization, and I'm still trying to master it. It's not 100%. And it's a challenge, but
mhm.
with one child, it was okay. She goes to daycare. I do my work while she's not here. The house is quiet. And then when she comes back, we get back to being a mommy. But now with two, my daughter, she's 2.5, and now my son is 2 months and a half. So now I have a baby that I'm breastfeeding, and he's really all about mommy. I can hear him right now as I'm talking to you. But it's really about priority. It's really about
Mhm,
prioritizing. You have to know that there's a time where, okay, you're with the children, you're with your family, and then there's
mhm,
a time where it's for your business. And that's really what I try to separate between, well, during the day. And also I have the support of my spouse, and which is amazing because he's 100% supportive. And when I need, like, to take, let's say,
mhm,
I need 2-3 hours to just like focus on my business, either creating content or production or whatever it is, he does not hesitate to take the children and to keep them busy. So really, it's really, honestly, I don't have like the, let's say, the perfect formula. Every day is different, but
mhm.
it's really just doing your best. I do my best, and I try to optimize my alone time. And I can say that with this, I'm like a night owl, because when everybody's asleep, that's when my day starts. It's like I have different shifts
Chips.
during the day. So during the day is mommy time, and then during the night, that's when the entrepreneur hat comes on, and I do what I have to do, and then that would be my day. Actually, that's my way of balancing it so
Mhm.
far.
I hear it is a family affair where everybody is somewhat involved, but I
Mm-hmm.
also hear that it's one of those where we have to find our own balance to make it work.
Definitely.
Because business versus family, you don't want to make
Mm-hmm.
it a choice. You want them
Mm-hmm.
to work together.
Exactly. And you don't have to choose. I feel like as women, we can, I seriously feel like we can do it all. It's all a matter of knowing your limits,
Mhm.
of knowing yourself, and of just finding the right balance for you. But I feel like you don't have to, there's no choosing between, okay, I have to be a mom 100%, or I have to be a homemaker 100%. No, because as women, we have our missions. As we're individuals before becoming a mother. You were yourself, and then you had your children. But your missions, your desires, your activities, your wishes, your dreams, they don't go away because you're a mom. So it's really just finding like a right balance. And it takes time. Sometimes some people don't find it, some people do. You just make it work. But it's definitely possible to do it, to be fulfilled as a woman, as a mother, as a wife, and as someone who's contributing to society in a positive way.
You make me want to try again, but you know what? I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna leave the babies out for the time being.
But you're
What
already
are
doing
some
it.
of the lessons so far in your entrepreneurial journey
Mhm.
that you would want to share?
A lesson. I can say that I'm kind of a perfectionist. And my biggest lesson was to learn that this is actually a journey. And that not everything is how does the saying go? The day you plant the tree is not the day you eat the fruit. Well,
Hmm.
that's something that I always have to repeat to myself, because I plant the tree, I plant the seed, and I'm like, okay, come. It's like, where is it? Where are the results? So to me, it was really like just internalizing that this is a journey, that it will take time, and that I have to consistently work, even if it's little by little, to achieve what I see myself
Hmm.
achieving. And that basically, I was not born knowing it all,
Hmm.
and that you have the vision, yes, but you have to acquire the knowledge to help you bring this vision to reality.
Yeah.
And I'm not always gonna get it right the first time, because that's really something that
Hmm.
I always like. Okay, I have to try it. Everything has to be perfect. It's like wah, wah, wah. No, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. So
No.
to me, it's really the lesson was really, it's okay that it's a trial and error journey, and that there are resources that are there, and that are here to help me make the journey
Mhm.
more enjoyable, and that it's not necessarily me getting it right the first time. So that was really a lesson for me.
I love what you're saying from the perspective that we come in as individual thinking we're strong warriors and we can do
Mm-hmm.
everything. And then when the family arrives, they tag along, but there's with them tagging along, I still have to figure out a little bit of time for them, a little bit of time for me, a little bit
Yes.
of time for the business or whatever else that I'm passionate about.
Mm-hmm.
And that requires juggling, that
Yes.
requires maybe reassessing some
Mm-hmm.
of those perspectives that we had. I used
Mm-hmm.
to be a perfectionist as well. I had to
Mm.
let it go at one point. There are
Exactly.
tendencies to go back to it, but it's just a sense when you do realize it, it's like, okay, 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 go back
Yeah,
there, go back
exactly.
there. You need to keep going.
It's not easy. Yeah.
Definitely, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you might not know, but I'll share with you. I'm all about boundaries. I was a single
Mm-hmm.
mom working full time. I actually
Mm-hmm.
had one full time job and one
Mm-hmm.
part time job that was what I call a bit of my passion. And then
Mm-hmm.
on top of this, you'll have to, you know, manage your passion your sense of self, and all of those things.
Yeah.
So boundaries were the way I kind of figure out how to take some me time
Mm-hmm.
and as well take care of the people around me.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna ask you, what boundary have you implemented in your personal or your professional life that has created the most personal growth for you?
Mm-hmm. I definitely I get what you're saying, and because I'm kind of uh, I would say it's two things. First of all, it's learning to say no, because especially when you're freshly beginning on your entrepreneurial journey, there are so many opportunities, people inviting you here and there, people asking you for this and there. Oh, can you donate this, etc. And at the beginning, you're like, okay, yes, it's gonna be good. They're gonna talk about me, but at a certain time, I'm thinking in Creole. I almost spoke in Creole, but at at a certain point, you have to realize that, well, you're here also to make some money and to make profit, and that it's not, it can't always be yes, yes, you're going to be everywhere at once, because
Mhm.
it's all on you. And so really learning to assess the importance of each event, and learning to see which one will be more beneficial to your business is something that's, to me, is a boundary that I had to implement. Is just saying yes to a certain
Mhm.
number of events or donations, and or to say no and to politely refuse. And the second one I would say would be my family life, where I can easily be submerged in my business 24/7. And I wake up, the first thing I do is I just go to my computer and I just start. And it's really, it's like I do it automatically, and I have to check myself. I'm like, okay, no, you know what? You're going to take the time, and this is not like the first thing that you're going to
Mhm.
do. There's other things that you can do. And before I go to bed, that's the last thing I do as well. And I go to bed very late. I can stay up until 1, 2 in the morning. And to me, it's not really a job. It's just that I just try to put in as much time as possible in it. So and that's how passionate I am about creating, about what I'm doing. So my boundary in this sense was really to set the right balance in creating like my family life
Mhm.
and then my business life. So when my daughter comes back from daycare, I know that I stop everything that pertains to the business, and then I'm a mommy, I'm a wife, and then once they go to bed, everybody's asleep, the house is asleep. Now I go back to being the entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And because one thing is that I realized also, especially for the children, the affection and the love that you give them as children, that is gonna shape the adults
Mhm.
that they
Mhm.
become. And I don't want them to grow up like having an absent mom,
Mhm.
because of course the business is to me, it's a legacy that I want to leave for them. But between leaving a legacy and just like leaving a space where there's no mom, there's
Mhm.
the balance. You There's
Yeah.
one that is more important than the other. So it would be really to, to me, the boundary was to be a mom, and then at the time that I'm a mom, to be completely present, and then to be the entrepreneur after everybody is asleep, basically. Hopefully I phrased that correctly.
I understand what you're saying because you
Hmm.
don't want the legacy you want to leave behind to become something they end up hating. So it's
Exactly.
meant to be
Wow.
a blessing, and you want
Hmm.
it to remain a blessing and not
Exactly.
something like for them to think this is what took my mom's attention away. And
Perfectly said.
yeah, I totally get it. Not an
Perfectly
easy
said.
journey because, it's
Exactly.
again about priorities, about
Exactly.
juggling,
Yeah.
about figuring
Yeah.
out what is in everyone's best interest
Hmm.
and what is my vision. Because I don't think that without your passion, there are
Hmm.
things you would still continue doing if
Hmm.
you weren't passionate about. One
Hmm.
of the things that I really liked about your dolls is
Yes.
that you are still making them yourself.
Yes.
You're sewing their clothing, you're picking
Mm-hmm.
the fabric, you're
Yes.
giving them the hairdo you want to give them.
Mm-hmm.
It is time consuming,
It is.
but
It
then
is.
at the same time, it feels so much more personal to
Yes.
know that this doll
Mm-hmm.
comes with some love already, because as
Definitely.
you're working on it, that's what you're doing. You're passing
Mm-hmm.
on your love to another little girl or a
Yes.
little boy for them
Yes.
to enjoy as well.
Yes. Yes. Definitely. And it's and I enjoy it, and I'm happy that I get to create firsthand the my product, well, the doll, and it ties down to like the beauty of being like a small business is that at this point I could still be very much involved in the production myself, and I enjoy it because the proximity that I have with my clients, I can talk to them on the phone. I conversate with them through Instagram, through Facebook, through emails, and we really go back and forth many times with certain clients. And I find it so amazing. I like to be so close to them.
Mhm,
Whereas, when we start, yes, we want to be this big business, we want to have millions of clients, etc. But at that point, maybe the relationship won't be the same
mhm,
because you won't have time to call people and then to send the text message.
mhm,
So it's really, I enjoy being involved firsthand, getting involved in like making the dolls, making the hair, the creation of the clothes and everything, because at some point I know I'll be delegating all of that to other
mhm,
people. So I really enjoy it for the time that I get to put all my love in the doll, in the creation, and then I wrap her up. I put her in the box, and then I send her away. And every time I'm like, okay, I talk to the doll also. I'm like, you're gonna go make someone very happy, make them happy, and then there's a lot of love that goes into it. And I also believe in energy, and the energy
mhm,
that I give to these dolls, that goes into making the doll. It's really a loving energy that
mhm.
I really get the return when the people come back to me and they say their children love the doll and they love the little messages that I leave. So it's a really a beautiful process of creation that I enjoy.
Because you've mentioned it, it
Hmm.
was in my mind, but here it is.
Hmm.
You mentioned those messages that you leave with the dolls.
Yeah.
I understand that each doll has a name and a
Yes.
story.
Yes.
Can you
Yes.
tell us a little about that?
Yes, so each doll has their name. I Through these dolls, I want to educate as well, educate as much as possible. Like I said, it's really a doll, but there's so much that you can do with just this simple toy. And the names are not just chosen by accident. It's really names that represent and honor important women figures of African descent, or just names who have a certain meaning in an African language. For example, I have the doll. Her name is Toya, the Toya doll, and Toya, if is a very important woman in the Haitian culture and Haitian history, because she is the auntie of Dessalines, of Jean-Jacques Dessalines, and she's actually the warrior woman from Benin who taught Dessalines the art of swords. She taught him how to fight, and he became the leader that he became thanks to her. And so that is why I named the doll the Toya doll, because it's just an honor to that woman and to her contribution. And I have the Malaika doll. I have Every doll has a name that is really specifically tied to a certain meaning and a certain person. Yes.
What would be, because I can see the passion as you're talking about it. It's not, I don't get the sense that it is just a business to make
Mhm.
money. I
Mhm.
get the sense that it's a bit of an exchange to give more love into the world. At least that's how
Mhm.
I'm hearing it.
Mhm.
What would be the top three nuggets that you would
Mhm.
like women interested in building their ideas into reality, whether it is for business, or while they're at work or just a social enterprise. It doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
What would be those top three nuggets that you want them to hold on to?
Yes, what I can say is, and just to bounce back on what you said, it definitely is something that I do. Yes, there's the money that is involved, but I always say, if I could sell each doll for $2, I would,
Mhm,
because the more children have my dolls,
mhm,
to me, it's not a matter of like having 12 million children, having $12 million. It's really a matter of having 12 million children, seeing the beauty in who they are, and growing up to be confident people and loving their hair texture, loving their skin color, knowing that their melanin is rich and that it absorbs the sun, and that their hair is or like antennas that absorb the sun as well, and that their hair is magic. I want them to grow up with that, and the more children actually have that sort of confidence, the better the world will be tomorrow.
mhm,
And so that's really my goal, would be really like to have as many children as possible have these dolls, and boy and girls. And my goal is to also have male dolls, because that's always in
mhm,
demand, and black boy dolls are very, very, very difficult to find.
mhm,
So that's definitely on my to-do list. But for the nuggets, for women, I would say, there's no such thing as dreaming too big or too small. Today, we live in a world where everything is like performance, performance, performance. If
mhm,
you don't have this big idea, this big thing, well, you're not dreaming, you're not seeing big enough. Everybody has their mission, everybody has their contribution, everybody came here for a reason,
mhm,
and some reasons are bigger. Some accomplishments might look bigger than others, but it doesn't necessarily mean that what your dream is. Like, if your dream is to be a homemaker, a mom, a stay-at-home mom, raising your children, then that's your dream. It's very valid, so that would be one nugget that I would like women to hold on to, is that whatever you feel that makes you feel accomplished, then acknowledge it and embrace it, and don't let anybody make you feel less than because of it.
mhm,
And the second one would be, enjoy every step of the journey, especially as an entrepreneur. Enjoy every milestone. If you just go out there and register your business, celebrate that. If you just go out there and print your business cards, celebrate that,
mhm,
because we tend to like wait for the big opportunity to celebrate,
mhm.
big reason to celebrate. But you could also celebrate the little things that make you give yourself a pat on the back and say, okay, yes, today I woke up and I did that, and I took this step towards my dream. um I hear my baby over there, oh my
It's
gosh.
okay.
Oh, okay. And as women also, we're multifaceted creatures, and that's what makes us amazing. So I think we spoke about it earlier, but we wear many hats. So it's really not to be afraid to wear these hats, and know that you can,
Mhm,
and that we contribute to society in so many different ways. And it's not just about being a mom. It's You can contribute in so many other ways. So don't let people just put you in a box and make you think, as a woman, this is what you have to do. You can do so much more. So that would be what I would like women to hold on to.
Thank you. And I would tend to agree with you. I'm going back to what you just said.
Hmm.
We need more dolls for males, for little
Yes. Mm.
boys. And when we're looking at dolls, and this is my input, it's not a specific request. I'm just saying, we don't just want them to be in sports clothes. There
Mm-hmm.
are so many more things that little boys can do become
Oh,
that
listen.
don't involve sports. Because,
Mm-hmm.
whenever you see black dolls, male dolls, it's
Mm-hmm.
usually connected to some kind of sport. And you're like,
Exactly.
yeah, but that's not the only thing we can do. There's other
Exactly.
assets and talents within the community.
Exactly, exactly. And that's why it's important for us to create our own products,
Yeah,
because we know ourselves. And when we leave it to others to create for us, well, they create based on what they see of us, based on certain stereotypes. And
that's it.
before, these big companies started, now they're making dolls that look like us with the afro hair and stuff. But before, we weren't even considered as a market.
No.
And now they see that Black people are like, yes, representation, we're looking for dolls that look like us, and now they're like, oh, there's big money there, so now they're starting to make them. But before, these dolls were very caricatural, with like the big lips, and the baby dolls with like, they were not like, they did
No.
not give you the desire to buy them, because they were very very stereotypical dolls.
Hmm.
And if we're creating our own products, our own everything, our own narratives, then we can control what we do and the images that we put into the world, and it could be a positive one.
Definitely, definitely.
Mm.
What would be one key message, because we are about to wrap up,
Yes.
that you want to leave with our listeners today?
One key message. Man, see, that's like that's a very good question, because there's so many things going on in the world right now. We're like in the middle of a transition. It could either go very well in the right direction, or it could be get very bad. In all of this, I would like the listeners to just to stay focused on, to not lose sight of their dreams, because we live in a world where today, if you look at what's going on outside, it might seem impossible to accomplish what you want to accomplish, because this, you can't do this, you can't do that, etc. Like, the perspectives do not look good at all, but it's not true. It's not true. It does not have to be a reality. So it's really just to keep nurturing that dream, and to keep working at it in spite of everything that may distract you from it. And also, to go back to what I do, to bring things back to the dolls, is just I really wish for humanity to recognize that, well, not even humanity, because once you have that recognition for yourself, you don't care about what people think
Mhm.
of you. So it would really, to for us as African, of people of African descent, to reconnect with who we are on a deep level, and to realize how amazing and how strong and how powerful we are, and to move according to move
Mhm.
accordingly, so that we can take our steps rooted in this
Mhm.
power. Because once we do that, well, there's no limit to what we can accomplish. And if we instill that in our children,
Mhm.
listen, in 20 years from now, the world would be completely different. So that's really what I would like to leave the listeners with today.
I have to say,
Mm.
uh, if I didn't have kids, I would say I want you as my kid. She gets me.
Oh,
If
wow.
I had known your mom, I would
Mm.
say she did an amazing job in
Wow.
transferring the legacy.
Thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure.
That means a lot. Thank you. Thank you.
So, how can people get in contact with you or hear about some of the events you do?
Yes, they can contact me. Well, my website is www.lespoupées.ca. It's written on the bottom, right there. Also, I'm very, very accessible on Facebook, Les Poupées d'Or, Instagram, les.poupées.d'or, and my email, info@lespoupesdor.ca, and that's also on the website. So I'm very happy to exchange with people, and to just interact. I love it, and I'm very, very, very open to that.
You know, I see in your future an event where, thankful to sponsorship, you will be able to give dolls to a lot of kids.
Wow.
So I don't know when that's going to take place, but trust me, Paula would be more than happy to say, yes, yes, yes. I see that in your
Oh,
future.
thank you so much. I received that. I received that, and I would love that. I'm definitely working towards reaching a point where I can just distribute dolls, and that's what I want to do. That's what I want to do, and I know I'll get there. Something tells me that that's in store. That's in it's written in the stars for me.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's been a delightful conversation. And as
Thank
a
you.
woman with gray hair, I'm thinking, oh, I'm so happy there are people like you growing up and raising
Oh,
baby children and making them even better, that
oh,
in
thank
terms of
you.
self-identity and affirmation, I'm like, ooh,
Thank
good
you.
job. I know you're
Oh,
doing a good job as a mom. I have
thank you
no
so
doubt
much.
about
Thank
that.
you. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure, and really, as a young woman, I'm looking forward to just seeing our children, our grandchildren become like an extension of who we are. But it's really of giving them everything that we had late, and just having them grow up with it so that they can be on another level when they reach our
Definitely.
age, and
Definitely.
so
That's what
on.
we want. Open up so that they can do and live even greater purposes than we even
Exactly.
had envisioned for ourselves.
Thank you so
So
much.
thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you for
And
having me
hopefully we
again.
cross path again very soon.
We will definitely. Thank you for having me once again.
My pleasure.